Hi there, it's Wayne from HANDPLANES, Handles and Restoration. Today what I want to talk about is broken front knobs. What I have here is a Stanley type 12 and 13 and they were very common to get broken. Luckily this one's only got a few cracks, so we've got away with that at the minute. But what I've done, I've set up some models here that I've made to show you how I actually repair them when they come out like that. Sometimes you think to yourself, I'm not going to be able to mend that, but I'm going to show you how I mend them when they're broken this bad. So to start with, what I've done, I've used a few different coloured woods so that it comes over on camera so you can actually see what I'm actually doing and where my joints are. And I just thought it'd help on the camera to do that. So the first thing we need to do is drill this hole out from the rough, ½ inch deep to about an inch deep. That's the first job we need to do. The second job that we need to do before we do anything else is measure the size of the original knob, the length of it, and also the diameter. Now if this is too badly broken, you obviously won't be able to take the diameter of that, but if you go into your collection and hopefully find another one that's the same as this, you can take the diameter from that. If you can't, contact me and I'm sure I can find the diameter for the correct plane that you've got. So, like I say, the first job is to drill that hole out. The second job that we need to do is make one of these. Now, what this is a dowel that fits into there, nice and snug, but is larger than the hole. So if that's an inch, at least make this 1 1/16 inches. There's a reason for that, which we'll come to later. So you need to make that so that's a nice snug fit. When you're making this part, you need to have this in the headstock and this in the tailstock. There's a reason for that as well. So go ahead and make that first and make that a nice tight fit into there. So once we've achieved that, we need to put it together like that and put it back in the lathe. Again, obviously that's now in the headstock, and the reason this is for the tailstock is because that will just fit into the hole that's there from the original handle. So once we've got to that stage, what we're going to try and do now is take the minimum amount off from the base up to where it's broken. Now for me to show you how that's done, I'm just going to change this. Put this little bit on, take that off there, put that on there. So what we've got here is when that's on the lathe, we need to get rid of this broken part. And the way we do that is we get a parting tool and part that down until it's got rid of all of the broken part of the original knob. So when we do that, what happens is this is cut down, and when you've gone through to the dowel, this part drops away like that. So nothing untoward goes wrong. It just goes away there. Stop the machine, take it apart, and you end up with this. So once we've achieved this, we've got a nice flat surface there to glue onto. So what we need to do now is take our new piece of wood, which in this case let's call it rosewood because that's generally what we use. So the piece of rosewood, we need to do that size there. That needs to be larger than the diameter of the base that we discussed earlier. This needs to go into the headstock as we described before, and this again needs to fit into that new hole, which is roughly ½ inch deep. So when we make the length of that, that needs to be a bit less than ½ inch, so when you glue it together, that's a nice tight fit. So that's the first stage that we need to do in doing it. So once we've done that, we can then glue that together, clamp it together, leave it overnight, sorted. So once we've taken this out of its cramp, what we're trying to achieve next is this. So the first job we need to do now is take this down to this diameter that we discussed earlier. The second job we need to do is get the length of this correct, which again we discussed earlier, so that you can use a parting tool to cut that down probably a good quarter. And then from that we can then put the shape back on, which you need to go very careful, bit at a time to see where you're going, and once you've got that all perfect how you want it, you can then sand that up. So once we've got to this stage, we now need to take it to this stage. Now, what we need to do first, before we do anything, is in the centre hole, if we drill a 16th hole through into the new knob, as it were, and that's for a reason which I'll show you in a minute. But the other next thing we can do is through the parting area there, you can now cut that off, and we need to make it lovely and flat like that. After you've done that, we then take the 16th hole that should now be showing in there for your centre hole to put your hole back in the bottom. Once you've done that, turn it up and drill your centre hole back through to take your bolt. And once you've achieved that, that's your new knob. Obviously, the colours I've got here, you're obviously going to try and match that up better with the piece of wood, rosewood, or whatever you're going to do. But basically, that's how I do it. Well, thank you for watching my latest video. If you've got any questions, drop them below. No problem, I'll answer them and all your questions that you've got. I mean, if there's a lot of questions, I'll probably do a part 2 of this video if I've forgot enough things that people need to know, but that's not a problem. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's been useful for you, and if it has, I'd like you to like the video, and I'd love you to subscribe as well so I can do a lot more. Thank you very much. See you again. Bye.